All right. That was really quiet. All right. We'll call the meeting to order at 6:01 PM. First item on the agenda is roll call.
Todd McCulloch, David Kennedy, Trisha Brown,
Here.
Kristen Runge,
Here.
Al Dassow,
Here.
Jeff Tews, Abigail Zellner.
Here. First item on the agenda then, or second item on the agenda is approval of minutes for the July 10th Community Development Authority meeting. Do we have any changes or corrections to the minutes?
So moved.
Do we have a second? A second. And all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is public comment. This is the moment in the meeting where if you're in the audience or online, you're free to make a public comment. We have a limit of 2 minutes for public comments, and typically we let Lauren know address and phone number, or address, just address, correct? Yeah, just address. Thank you.
Address and community.
Thank you. All right. Anyone? No? Sorry, would you like to make, if you don't mind stepping up to the podium and pressing the button so the mic is green? It's live. Yeah. Yours is on red. Yeah. So.
Hello. We have one of the applications for the Waunakee Betterment housing program, and just wanted to add a couple notes.
And if you don't mind giving us your name and address.
My name is David Wadzinski. My address is 303 Grant Street in Waunakee.
Thank you.
We have a very, very old home, one of the 7th oldest homes according to our history that we looked up in Waunakee, and it's a kind of a project for us. Nice, we want to stay here for a long time, and we want to build a family here, but with this old home, it has a lot of upkeep, and one of the issues going on is this roof is easily 25 to 30 years old, and when it was installed, it's been installed very cheaply. We kind of can't move forward with keep building and renovating and making the house new again without, starting from that point. We got to protect the house. It's been known to have water issues, leaking issues, and we really want to just get that fixed and settled so we don't keep working. So we can keep moving forward and not keep taking steps back. So part of our issue, one of the things that might keep us out from being accepted was the income level with only a household of 2. And we want to start a family in Waunakee, but we just can't do that until we get our house in the right condition. So that is a big part of us really trying to push for this and get it so we can move on with family planning and whatnot. And so it's just, we have other projects we need to do and need to do the house that are also critical, but we view with this winter coming, it's supposed to be a very wet and white winter. Ice damming and everything in between could cause way worse issues and disrepair to the house. So this is just something that we really value and we really want to get done so we can stay here and really put the right money and time into this house. So that's it.
Right. Thank you very much, David. Any other public comments? All right. Podium is yours. Abby, yeah, if you don't mind pushing the green button.
Hold it too.
I know, push it. Yep, there you go.
Hi, I'm Abby Coltis. I live at 301 Grant Street, right next to David. Had no idea he was going to be here. I have roof problems also. I have a new roof and new gutters, but the gutters themselves get so full of leaves from the big trees next to the house that my basement gets filled ankle deep water when it rains heavily because everything is clogged. So I'm looking to get covers for my gutters, and I've lived there for 26 years. It's a family home and I plan on living there as long as I can. So it'd be nice to not have any problems in my basement any longer. Thank you.
Thank you, Abby. Any other comments? No? All right. The podium is yours. Yep. So it's green.
Okay, well, we've lived in our house we moved here in 82 and we're still in the same house. Well, I am. My husband passed away about 8 years ago.
I'm sorry, your name and address.
Susan Mansky, 404 Prospect Road. and right behind the library. And it's a wonderful location. And so we've been there for 40 plus years. And we right now, my need is for porch repair. We put a lot of money into replacing windows, roof, flooring. It's in reasonably good shape inside. Nice drain tile system, but we've got to replace the porch, the front porch and the back porch, because the wood is rotting in the back. It's just a wooden porch in the front. The roof, the supports for the roof, there's a brick planter, and the bricks are literally coming apart and falling away from the house. And I don't know how much longer it'll last, but the roof on the porch will collapse if I don't get it repaired. It's sometime soon, like within the year. So that's my objective right now, is to just take out the planters, just reinstall very simple columns there, and redo the pavers on the porch, and replace the wood porch in the back, and nothing fancy, so that we can continue to live there. It's a wonderful location. We got great neighbors, and I really don't want to have to move.
Thank you very much, Susan. Do we have any comments online from anyone online? If you're online, you can raise your hand to make a comment. All right, see no comments online. Then we will close public comment. Hi, Todd, how are you? Yeah, we are just, that's all right. Traffic is crazy this week. It's the construction. All of the above. So next item on the list, then, since we've closed public comment, and thank you all for coming out and speaking today, we appreciate that very much, is to discuss and take action on the Waunakee Housing Betterment Fund Emergency Fund Policy. That'll be the first item, and then the second item will be reviewing applications. So Lauren, to you.
Sorry, I'm trying to recombobulate over here. So in the past, CDA has talked about implementing an emergency fund policy to address projects that might not be able to wait until a triennial review. So staff has drafted an example of an emergency fund just as kind of a jumping off point. We expect that there would probably be changes recommended by CDA, but like I said, it's easier to go off of something that you can talk about than to try to come up with it on the fly. So we're just looking for some conversation about this. What you like, what you don't like, how you think it could be crafted. So I will pass it off to you.
All right, and so looking at, is it possible to pull the sample? Well, we all actually have it in front of us. But for the sake of letting people at home know what we're reviewing, yeah. So in a nutshell, we're saying that in the event of an application for the Waunakee Housing Betterment Fund is received in between review meetings, the application for an emergency repair that cannot wait until the next review meeting for scoring and determination, we would authorize you and the CDA chair to score the award in an emergency grant of, and we left that blank. So it's one of the things that we would determine. And the non-exhaustive list of repairs that you provided would be repair, replace non-working HVAC systems, repair or replace foundations that are in danger of immediate collapse, repair or replace failed or broken house steps. For emergency repairs, it will be covered under homeownership plans, such as storm damage. The CDA may at its discretion award a grant for up to 50% of the remaining repair cost after insurance reimbursement. All right. So what thoughts do we have? Committee members, yes.
The question is just comfort of Lauren, you essentially, and Kristen as chair of having the discretion to do this, or if you want other parameters from this group to help make those decisions. I'm fine with it. I completely understand the need of it, but I guess it's more of how much objective protocols do you want in place if this is enough for you guys.
I would appreciate as much structure as you would be comfortable giving. One of the reasons we had thought about this was previously we had funded an HVAC system that really the only time it's an immediate repair is when it's not working, but that usually happens unexpectedly in between meetings. So there are some things that seem like that's an obvious, yes, it would be an emergency repair. There are other things that may not be so obvious. And so whatever direction or structure we can get from CDA, I think would be better.
Abby.
Yeah, since we meet monthly, I mean, would there be almost like a tiered system where there's like I don't want to call them super emergencies, but super emergencies where it makes sense for Kristen or the chair and Lauren to do them, and then other ones that are emergent, can't wait for a triennial review, but let's say the month prior, we'd just done the review, this happens, could we have it at the next meeting that we discuss?
We could do that. Could we call it an emergency? Would you guys think of an emergency meeting if we need just a quorum of 4 people?
Are we allowed to meet by Zoom or some other methodology, or does it have to be in person?
I would have to check with Brian, but I believe a Zoom meeting would be appropriate.
I'm okay with that, if that's what you're asking, yes.
Todd? Yeah.
I almost think the criteria is pretty well objective.
Mhm.
I feel like the criteria is pretty objective. I guess I don't feel like we'd have to limit it and just trust Lauren and Kristen to make the call if they wanted to, because I think the whole Betterment Fund is set up to give back to the community, and life happens. Sometimes it happens not at the right time. So to me, I don't have a problem with trusting those two to make the call.
The only issue I see with that comment, and by all means, I trust Lauren, and how can I not trust Kristen?
I won't always be the chair.
Not always be the chair, correct? Coup d'etat. However, I'd be careful using this methodology or process too much because of favoritism, diversity, inclusion, and all those terms that come into play. Whereas a body gets together, right or wrong, it is another set of eyes looking at it, of diverse people looking at it, as opposed to 2 people. So that's why I think the process has to go through this jurisdiction. Having said that, I'm okay with the emergency funds and giving the authority on a as needed basis. I think the policy is fairly well written. I don't know of any repair, replace foundations in danger of immediate collapse, if that's an immediate request, because their foundation doesn't immediately collapse. Usually that's a time lapse issue. So it almost gets to what would cause that would be a natural disaster, an act of God. If there's a natural disaster, an act of God that creates an immediate response, we are giving you the authority to act on a after insurance reimbursed amount of up to X dollars. So I would put in natural disaster, because immediate collapse of the basement just doesn't happen. It's collapsing. Broken house steps, those are broken. It takes time. It's an evolution. It's just not immediate. The HVAC, I can understand. I mean, those do come and go. But absent the HVAC, which is a living requirement, pretty much everything else I would suspect is an act of God or a natural disaster that causes the immediate recognition and release of some funds. And with that, this can be a preliminary request followed up by a formal request at the regularly scheduled CDA meeting. So the applicant could say, yes, I need some money for the following reasons. Kristen and Lauren get together and opine, yes, they're entitled. But then if for whatever reason, and based on the dollar limitations that are in his provision, they then, the applicant could come back and say, okay, I was awarded, example, $5,000 on this temporary emergency basis, but it was more than that and I need more money. So would you go and formally approve the balance of it? I'm okay with that.
Another way that we had looked at it, which granted, there aren't really examples for us to go off of. So a lot of this was just, just trying to pull some stuff together.
You gotta start from someplace.
Yep. One of the other options that we had considered was, like Abigail said, the monthly meeting, but allow it to be used for work that's already been done. Whereas the Housing Betterment Fund specifically says right now, it's for work that has not been completed or started. Whereas we would bring it to you on an emergency basis for work that may have already been done.
So it would be reimbursement for emergency work. The HVAC
Yes.
failed and then they replaced it.
Yep.
And on the one hand, I understand that. On the other hand, somebody that is, stuck in that situation where they don't have an HVAC to and just using that, because that's like clearly the emergency, to pay for that upfront and then hope for reimbursement. And you don't have much of a choice if it's an HVAC, right? I would be almost more comfortable in that situation with, if we did call an emergency, well, not an emergency meeting, but called in between, I guess we'd call it an emergency meeting. We only need 24 hours notice for that to get quorum together. And then we could go above the 5,000. You just make the decision once rather than
Right.
authorize and then come back and make the decision. That feels like it might be just the most straightforward way to go about it.
And hopefully we can get a quorum through that process. And I'm not in favor of your last sentence. These repairs may not have already been started or completed. I put the word not in there, again, consistent with the policy. So I'd like to be proactive in that regard. I understand it's the emergency. We're, as a group, saying, yes, we'll be available within 24 hours. If they can't gather all the facts, I guess maybe we do part and hold the other part out for some other information later on, but I'm okay with that.
Yeah. I think if we can get comprehensive relief as quick as possible, that might meet the spirit of the grant.
Our concern was how quickly can you pull a quorum together?
Oh.
I thought I did push it.
It's the green one.
Yeah.
We need 4 for a quorum?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Public notification that would be required.
24 hours.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'd pretty much have to have 2 days lead time to put together the meeting with a quorum and then get that noticed properly.
What does a notice mean? Who's it go to? What do you gotta do?
We have to post it online and in 3 public places.
Okay. Well, I think the members of the CDA are saying, yes, we will commit to responding within the necessary time. So it's a matter of the
Logistics.
legal procedural process.
We need an agenda.
Question.
ready. Yeah.
Does the utility company have an obligation in emergency situations to make sure that there's heat provided, and we're saying HVAC, so I'm assuming heat is the most essential in that short of a time frame.
To my knowledge, there's a requirement in terms of making sure that the electrical system is working and everything, but I don't know that they have a requirement that they have to provide heat to each house. Like if someone's furnace went out, that they need to do something in the intermediary time. I'm not sure if that's a requirement.
Our HVAC went out this winter because that's the best time for your furnace to fail. Yeah. Yeah, either or, right? And it was about 48 hours to get it was 24 hours. It was the day after we could get somebody in, and it was about 48 hours before we could actually get a unit, and we were lucky that one was in stock. So I think that the 24-hour notice, if we're making a commitment to be here, we could actually probably, about the time that the HVAC unit landed in the house, we would probably have a decision already. So, all right, let's try it this way. And if it doesn't work, then we'll come back and do the authorization. Yeah. Instead. All right. So we need a motion then. I make a motion that we would, how do we want this worded?
Little typo.
Little change. What page are you on for the?
Page 4.
For the
Page
motion,
4, thank you.
5 for the.
All right. I make a motion to approve the addition of an emergency fund policy in which the Community Development Authority will meet within, how do we want to say that? Meet in
Subject to the
between.
changes as discussed, wherein the Community Development Authority board members agree to be on call for within 24-hour notice of a emergency meeting or an applicant.
All right,
Woo.
what Al said. So moved. So this is where we roll back the tape when we all get home and we're
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
And the repairs may not have already been started.
and repairs may not have already been started.
Collective motion.
Collective motion. Do we have a second on our collective motion?
I second the motion.
All right, if Brian Kleinmeyer, our attorney, was here, he would actually, he'd have the words we need, but he'd probably be shaking his head at us. All right, motion and a second. Lauren, can you read back approximately what we moved? Since I was taking notes,
He was going back to the.
just so
motion.
that we have like a clear motion.
All right. Motion to approve the addition of an emergency fund policy. With consideration that the CDA may call a special meeting within 24 hours notice. And for repairs that may not have already been started or completed to the Waunakee Housing Betterment Fund Program Policy.
Very good.
All right,
Just another comment on that, and I know you give a couple examples of emergency repair projects, which I agree with the HVAC. I don't agree with the other two. And I referenced natural disasters, act of God. The other one I thought of was vandalism. There's vandalism done to the house and the repairs are emergently needed, then I think that's another appropriate ask.
all right,
So
Um,
changes as discussed.
all
That's
right,
the guess, yeah.
excellent. All right, all those in favor? Aye.
I,
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you all. Item number 2 on the agenda today is update on program financials and the triennial review and scoring of applications for the Waunakee Housing Betterment Fund. So update on program first, Lauren?
Yeah. So you should all have this very colorful spreadsheet in front of you. It's a little bit of an update from the previous one. Yeah. I noticed. Sorry, I need to share my screen again. So people out in TV land can see what's going on. So we started out with the initial increment of $477,737, of which a portion of that went to the Cohen Esri project. And we started out this housing betterment fund with a balance of $151,000 roughly. In our first review period, we issued almost $34,000 in grants, which left us at this moment with about 117. There are a little over $35,000 in requests tonight, which would bring us down into the low $80,000 range. But towards the end of the year, and it is expected to be in 2024 and available prior to the January review, we're expecting that TID increment from the TID 3 closure of $735,000. Or sorry, $618,000. I'm going down one column and then forgetting to move back over. Thank you.
For a balance of 700.
Yes, for a balance of $735,000. So a minimum of the increment must be spent on affordable housing projects, which the Housing Betterment Fund is. The other 25% needs to be spent on housing, but it isn't necessarily relegated to affordable housing. Could be affordable or not, can be new or existing. So that's something to keep in mind as we're trying to develop new housing projects, that these funds could be going toward. But 75% of it does need to go to affordable housing projects, whether it's the Housing Betterment Fund or something like a LIHTC project again. The other three closures on here, TIDs 4, 5, and 6. That's what we would expect to get out of those TIDs if they were extended for another year. But those aren't guaranteed funds because they're still open and have not been extended.
And our projected closure years for those are 2025, which is closing early for TID number 4, 2026, which is closing early for TID number 5, and 2029, which will close early for TID number 6. So, correct.
Yes.
So this is all within the next
Although
conceivably 5 years, provided none of our TIDs come forward and ask for additional use of the funds.
correct.
And provided the board members approve the one-year
Yes.
extension
Correct.
for this money to go into affordable.
Yes.
to the housing fund.
All right.
So we're not assured that the 618,087, not questioning the number. We're not assured that that number is going to the housing betterment fund, which means we only have 81,000, assuming all were approved tonight, left, which means pretty much 2 more kicks at the cat. We're done.
The 618 has been approved already.
Oh, it has?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yep, so
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
a TID closure that's already been approved by village board to stay open for the extra year. So those funds are guaranteed to come in. Anything after that, 4, 5, and 6 are not guaranteed.
Nice, huh? So we'll have some money to work with.
Money.
Yeah. All right. Thank you for that update. So. And next under this item then is triannual review and scoring of applications for the Waunakee Housing Betterment Fund. So would you like to walk us through those one at a time, Lauren?
Sure. I'm just gonna start at the top of my pile here, which are in no particular order. And last time we did have some variation in the motions. So we do request that when a motion is made, it sticks to the motion on page 6.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
So the first application I have is from Damian and Anna Lenchik. I'll give you a little time to pull that up. This project is for gutter replacement. A total project of approximately $7,975. So they're asking for 50% of that, which is $3,987.50. The project notes that the current gutters are too small and damaged in places, and the new gutters will be larger, positioned better, and will have gutter guards to prevent foundational leaking.
All right. And so as far as scoring goes, or did you calculate any of the objective ones? Lauren, or should we go through that? So that would be income, house value, age of structure.
Yep, last time you guys discussed all of it,
Okay.
so.
I had 6 for income. Does that sound accurate? 6 for housing value and 3 for age of structure. Sick.
Yeah,
Correct.
that's,
Okay,
yes,
excellent.
I
So-
had the same.
Our accountant. So.
I'm looking at this green or red is what. I'm
All
looking
right.
at.
And that.
Okay.
And that brings us to 15. So what did you all have for repair need and livability?
Just down the line or how do you
Yeah.
want this?
Should we, Todd? Do you want to start?
Sure. For repair needs, I had 2. And for livability, I had 1.
Okay. And how about you, Tricia?
I had 2 for repair needs and 2 for livability.
And I had 2 and 1 as well. And a couple times this comes up I understand the gutters and the importance of the gutters, but are the leaf guard, is that a want or a need?
I think this was gutter replacement.
It's got a replacement with gutter
Oh,
guards.
with guard, with
Yeah,
gutter guards. Okay.
yeah. So that's why I agree that 2 and a 1 is what I had.
The only, oh, never mind. Like,
No, go ahead.
no, I just live in an older home and the gutters make such a huge difference in the basement and the water in the basement. So just advocating for it a little bit.
And I was expecting to see some of that here, but I didn't see a whole lot of that discussion about water in the basement and the reason for the gutters. I was a little surprised I didn't see some more comment about that.
Okay,
Do you, yeah, you mean in the application from the homeowners?
okay. And Abby, what did you have?
I also had 2 and 2 for the same reason.
Okay,
Wet basements are not great.
okay. I had 2 and 1. So our average score then would probably be 17 3/4 or 18. What would our average score be, Lauren? I think everyone's above a 16.
So 3 18s and 2 19s. About 18.67%, 18.67 or something like that. You can do the math.
If you can just read off your total score
Okay.
individually, because we do keep record of that.
Okay. Todd,
So
what's your total score?
So that would be 18.
19.
18?
18.
19.
okay.
All right, so everyone is above, we know our average score is gonna be above 16.
Yeah.
We need to actually figure it out, or can we make a motion based on?
We can make a motion.
All right. So I'll make the motion to approve a grant in the amount of $3,987.50, which is 50% of the final cost, whichever is less, to be paid to Damian and Anna Lenchek. Upon completion of gutter replacement project at, and I do not have their address actually written down right now. The one that I have 306 West Second Street. 306 West Second Street.
I'll second that.
All right, any discussion on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Does it require a roll call vote?
Does it require a roll call vote? We didn't do one last time.
I don't.
We didn't do one last time.
Okay.
All right.
You can ignore me. Most women do.
All right, we don't ignore you, Al.
I know,
Yeah.
I
We ask you to do math on the spot. All right, Lauren, which one next?
I have my calculator up just in case,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
I think Al can I can think he can do it faster than I can type it into my computer. So the next application I have is for Susan Mansky at 404 Prospect Road. And this is for the supports for a brick porch roof that's collapsing. The roof is sagging. So they're looking to remove existing brick planters and supports and replace them with simple columns that will be embedded 4 feet below the ground in concrete piers, and to repair the roof sag. The porch deck will also be extended to cover the brick planter footprint, and deteriorating wooden back stairs and landing would also be replaced. So the total project cost is $25,177.50. They're asking for the maximum $10,000 grant.
all right. For household income, I had scored a 6, housing value a 6, age of structure a 2. Is that consistent?
Oh.
All right, so repair need, Abby, let's start with you. What did you have for repair need and livability?
I had a 2.
For repair need? How about for livability?
Also a 2.
It's barely.
A 2 and a 2.
right.
Probably because it was off. Sorry.
Al?
I have 2s for both as well, but for some reason I can no longer load the file off of my laptop because of some connection here. But I had a 2 and a 2.
Okay. I had a 3 and a 1. And how about you, Tricia?
I had a 3 and a 2 for a total 19.
And Todd?
I had a 3 and a 2,
Okay. So
or
that's all right. Abby, what was your total altogether?
18.
18.
I was 19.
19.
19.
Same.
All right, so a total of 74 divided by 6.
Now
Oops,
you're good.
Right? No, I just goofed it up. I missed one. Well, we're over at 16. For
Yeah,
an
you're
average.
well over.
Divided by 5.
Divided by 5, 74 divided by 5. Math in public is hard.
It is.
It
That's-
is.
Yeah, I still
Still
did the
stressful.
total wrong because it's only 15, which is, anyhow, we're over 16.
I'm trying to find the details to help you with the motion, Kristen.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll give this a roll, but yeah, somebody help me if I missed something. I move to approve a grant in the amount of $10,000 or 50% of the final project cost, whichever is less, to be paid to Susan Mansky upon completion of the Where'd it go?
Front porch, back porch.
Front
repair.
porch and back porch repair, at, 404 Prospect Road in Waunakee.
I'll second. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. You're welcome. Yeah, thanks for, yeah, for
Thank
coming
you.
in to talk to us. Yeah, we appreciate it. All right. Excellent, excellent. We look forward to seeing the new porch. Yeah, excellent. All right.
The next application we have is for Abby Cultis. Oh, my voice squeaked, sorry. At 301 Grant Street. And this is for a leaf filter to prevent basement flooding. So instead of just like the previous project, which was gutter repairs and leaf guards, this one is for the leaf guards. The request is for 50% of $4,397, which is $2,198.50.
All right, so for household income, I had a 9, housing value of 4, age of structure of 3. Is that consistent? Excellent. Al, what did you have for repair need and livability?
I had 2 and a 1.
Okay.
Again, it gets down to the question of the leaf guard versus just general gutters to me.
Tricia,
I'm a 2 and a 2.
Todd,
2 and a 2.
2 and a 2?
and I'm a 1 and a 1. So I had 18 altogether. What did you have, Tricia?
20.
20.
19.
20.
All right, we are clearly above 16. So who would like to make the motion?
Challenge somebody to give it a
I will
whirl.
try. I will try. Motion to approve the grant in the amount of $2,198.50 or 50%, excuse me, of the final project cost, whichever is left, to be paid to Abby Cultis upon completion of the gutter guard project at 301 Grant Street.
I'll second that.
Any discussion on the motion?
I do have a discussion on the motion, and that's what's been included in the packet is Abby Cultis's 1099 from Social Security. And there's some confidential information on there that probably should be part of the public domain.
Okay,
So we'll excise that.
we'll
from
have
the
that
packet.
edited.
Good catch, Al.
Yeah. Any other discussion? All right, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And thanks for showing up and speaking to us. Yeah. All right, next one, Lauren.
Just a moment.
This is the most fun meeting we have.
By the way,
Yes.
I do get internet access through Dunkin' Donut now. So.
Do you? Right.
Next up is Stephanie Varela. This is at 1002 South Street. This is for stoop and driveway replacement. And this one, which you can hopefully see from the first picture, the driveway is a U-shaped driveway and it is the access to the front of their house. So it's not like a driveway in a backyard or something that's providing secondary access. This is the primary access to the house. So it's for the stoop and driveway replacement. The estimated cost is $18,950. They're asking for 50%, which is $9,475.
All right, so for income, I had 9, housing value 4, age of structure 2. Is that consistent?
Yes.
All right. And Al, what did you have for repair needed and livability?
I had 2 and 1.
Abby,
Same 2 and a 1.
Tricia?
2.5 and 1, but I didn't think we could do, no, so probably put 2 and 1.
All right, Todd,
I had 1 and a 1.
1 and a 1. I scored this one high, 3 and a 1, just because the sellability, I thought might be impacted by this front stoop, but that's just my variation. So overall, what did you have, Abby, for your score?
18.
Al?
I had 15, 17, 20.
Okay, I had 19.
18.
17.
Okay, so we're clearly above 16 for our average. So I will make the motion to approve a grant in the amount of $9,475 or 50% of the final project cost, whichever is less, to be paid to Stephanie Varela upon completion of the stoop and driveway project at 1002 South Street.
I'll second that. And good job.
Right. We're getting better at it. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, next one.
Next up, I have Tammy Rybar. And this one is at 423 Patrick Avenue in Waunakee. This is for window replacement. The house was built in 1968. The owner had a stroke last year, which caused early retirement and is on a fixed income and long-term disability. The house is in need of 14 windows replaced. Most of them are original to the home. They are asking for the maximum $10,000 grant for a project that's approximately $21,000.
All right. I had a 6 for household income. Is that correct? 4 for housing value and a 2 for age of structure. Todd, what did you have for repair and livability?
3 and 3.
3 and 3. Tricia?
I had a 3 and 1.
I had a 3 and 2.
I had a 2 and 2.
I had a 3 and a 2.
3 and a 2. And so our overall scores, what was your overall score, Todd?
18.
16.
17?
16.
17.
All right, so we're clearly above 16.
I have a question though, and I don't recall the policy in its entirety, but looking at the pictures, are they all allowed to come back to us once for an improvement, or are they allowed to come back more than once for different improvements?
Nope, once they have received an award for an improvement, they cannot get another award from this fund for, I believe, 5 years.
Thank you.
Are you seeing at the repairs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gutters.
Yeah. All right, so do we have a motion? Todd, do you want to take a swing at it?
Motion to approve a grant for $10,000 or 50% of the final project, whichever is less, paid to Tammy Hyber upon completion of the
Window replacement.
window replacement project at, I'm sorry, I don't have the 423 Patrick Avenue in Waunakee.
I'll second that.
Any discussion on the motion? None? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Easy to spend money.
Pardon?
It's easy to spend money.
It is. It is.
This last one is from David Wodzinski and Haley Tim. This one is being requested on an emergency basis. It did come in after the deadline of August 31st. This is for repairing and replacing a 25-year-old roof on one of the oldest homes in Waunakee. And include 1 to 2 new gutters with gutter guards to protect against ice damming and overhang tree droppings. The project is estimated at $12,500. They're requesting 50%, which is $6,250.
Right.
So first we would need a motion to accept the application on an emergency basis. And then we could go forward with it if that motion passes.
I move to accept the application.
I'll second it.
Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item carries. All right, next up, for income, I had 3, housing value 6, age of structure 3. Is that consistent? And Abby, what did you have for repairs and livability?
I also had 2 and 2.
I had 3 and 1.
Tricia?
3 and 2.
Todd?
2 and 2.
I had 2 and 2 as well. So what are our final totals, Abby?
16.
16.
16?
17.
16.
All right, we make the 16 threshold. So do we have a motion?
I'll make the motion since you looked at me.
Yeah. I think you're the one that hasn't done one tonight. So.
I'm kind of out of it right now, but that's not an issue. Motion to approve a grant in the amount of $6,250 or 50% of the final project cost, whichever is less, to be paid to David Wadzinski and Haley Tim upon completion of the
Roof and gutters.
roof and gutters.
Yep.
At the property at 303 Grant Street.
All right, I'll second. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, item carries. So there we go. Yeah, thank you. Thank you guys for coming out.
Yeah, thank you for coming out.
Yes, thank
Yeah,
you so
we
much.
appreciate it a lot. Yeah. All right, always the most satisfying meeting that we
I
have.
know.
It
isn't
always
it?
is.
I don't know if it's like,
Be in touch with us as to the process.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, you'll hear from staff.
Yeah, yeah, Laura and then Kylie will probably be the one reaching out. You'll be the one.
It'll probably be me unless Kylie can get to it in the next week.
Oh, true, true. All right. Next item on the agenda is discussion on progress on the Housing Task Force recommendations. If possible, I'd like to delay this until the October meeting. My intention was to prepare a PowerPoint, and that did not happen. But also related to item number 4, discussion and possible action on a contract with Dane County Planning and Development. In October, we can bring something that's a little bit more comprehensive that might also meet our requirements for the affordability report that we file every year too. So I don't think we need a motion in order to set that aside. But would we all be in agreement? Otherwise, I can just ad hoc talk about it for an hour.
When's the October meeting?
Is it the 9th? It's an early meeting.
Yes.
October 9th.
October 9th, yeah.
Okay.
So next item then is discussion and possible action on a recommendation to contract with Dane County Planning and Development to update the housing chapter of the village's comprehensive plan. And this is to you, Lauren.
Yep, so this is something that also went before Plan Commission the other night. We received notification that Dane County Planning Division is offering an assistance program for municipalities that are seeking to update their housing element of the local comprehensive plan, which is separate from but related to the recent regional housing strategy. So kind of how do you take the regional, part of it would be how do you take the regional housing strategy and make it work for your community, but really making it a community focused project. In addition to that, the new Wisconsin Housing and Economic Development Authority programs aimed at addressing housing affordability require a comprehensive plan housing element that's been updated within the past 5 years. Our comprehensive plan was adopted in 2017, so we're out of that 5-year window. In addition to that, the village population has increased more than 20%. I think it's somewhere around 23.5% since 2017. So our current plan just doesn't really reflect the realities of what's going on in the community. And staff is putting in the budget proposal money to update the comprehensive plan next year as a whole document. But that will be a year-long process. We wouldn't see the results of that until sometime in 2026. This would possibly be a little bit earlier. They're estimating it would take 6 to 12 months to accomplish. So if we wanted to go after any WIDA funding project or product within the next year or two, we would need an updated housing element, which this would provide. But it would potentially conflict a little bit with having the entire comprehensive plan updated as a whole. So Planning Commission did vote to recommend against this in favor of doing the comprehensive plan as an entire plan. But as we're doing a lot of affordable housing type things with this committee, we wanted to have that discussion here too before we took it to village board.
All right, so before we discuss, when you're looking at the deliverables for the Dane County Technical Assistance Scope, which of these items are items that we would duplicate with the comp plan? Because I'm assuming we wouldn't contract out for a comp plan and say, do everything but the housing section.
Right.
Yeah, since it is a comprehensive plan. So what are some of the things that we might end up doing twice?
Well, the data update is something that is just automatically done as part of a comprehensive plan update. So anything relating to updating the housing data, housing would be included as part of a community survey. So there may be a little bit of duplication there, but you could always take out parts of the housing elements if you wanted to do another, when you do another survey as part of a comprehensive plan. And then some of the public outreach and things, conversations with this committee and plan commission. So there would be a little bit of duplication, potentially.
Okay, so looking at the general timeline on page, I think 21 of our packet, when they say a series of public engagement events, survey dissemination, and data analysis, one of the first items is to do a, I think actually I'm looking at page 22, do two public open houses, 3 public open houses. How many public open houses do we do typically for a comp plan? One of my concerns would be that people would come out for this and then not the comp plan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
one of our concerns was, especially with the sustainability plan that would also be going on during this time, is there could potentially be some engagement fatigue.
Yeah.
So with the comprehensive plan, we would also want to do it. Usually you would plan the engagement during the spring and summer where there's a lot of community events going on. And so trying to reach people where they are as opposed to bringing them to you. But you would still be looking at probably an average of 2 community events for a comprehensive plan. Although for this one, we are looking for a little bit more robust engagement. So probably looking at more.
Oh, I had a question on the tip of my tongue, but I lost it. So that's my signal to ask other people. Abby, what were your thoughts?
I think it makes sense to just do the comprehensive plan because basically of all the things you talked about, I don't love to like duplicate resources for the same information. And I think that the participation fatigue is a real thing. And I think all the things that we're gonna be talking about comprehensive plan are gonna be important. You're gonna want input. So.
Right. Thank you, Abby. Al?
I guess I'm interested in going forward with something, because we have now $735,000. And if we want to continue to ask the board and the village to continue to extend these TIF districts by 1 year, we better have something lined up as to how we're going to spend that money. Otherwise, there's questions going to be about what are you doing with all this money? So I would like to see something on the board as opposed to passive. Now, if there's something else we can work on, that's fine. I kind of like the Dane County thing, but I understand the concern there. But I just think we have a lot of money now, and the public could start asking, what are you gonna do with this?
Mhm.
That's my concern.
Okay. Thank you, Al. Trisha?
I had the opportunity to comment on this at Planning Commission as well, but even since then, one of the, items and Lauren mentioned too, we really don't have anything in the pipeline that would necessarily be at risk or miss out on one of the opportunities that would require this update within the time frame instead of going and doing it in conjunction with our comprehensive plan. And even one of the programs that may be applicable was the infrastructure grant program, but that's only applicable to, if I'm understanding it correctly, populations under 10,000, which we are kind of eliminated from that. And I just think as you're looking at commercial areas and mixed use spaces, they're so intertwined with what we want to do from a housing mix that to do them separately would almost be a disservice to the overall exercise of comprehensiveness of it. So, and I appreciate Al, the comment on like what we're doing with the tax increment dollars that we can put towards affordable housing, but with the time frame that we're looking at, I think we'll still be okay. I think we'll still fall under that based on, we have one other district that has 163,000, but if we're going at this pace of 35 to 45 on the Housing Betterment Fund, I think we'll still have maybe accruing a balance where we could do something bigger and better once we have a bigger picture of what we want to do with it. So I'm all for kind of waiting and doing it all at once.
Todd, what are your thoughts?
I agree with Al. I feel like it's also a thing of pace of our committee of the village. You know, I think that gets looked at as well as like, oh, government is slow. And so to me, if we can get something out, if there would be a way to minimize the damage of rework, I guess we'd call it, and still get something done, I think that would be a great route to go.
Right. So here's a question that we didn't talk about at Plan Commission. What if we removed the public engagement element of this? Is, would they be willing to do this without the survey and the public meetings? Just like get us the data, walk us through the data so that, we could at least use that without risking public fatigue?
And we could certainly ask them about that. They sent us a proposed scope, but really it's kind of a back and forth of what we would like to include or not include. So I could see that being a discussion item.
So in just to play off Todd, and that's where I was going with my earlier comment, but I was gonna wait till the table was finished talking before I add, and that is, it took us about a year and a half to do the Betterment Fund.
Mhm.
So if we're gonna wait for the comprehensive plan to be done, and then we have a year and a half to do something, we're more than 2026 or 2020, whatever the year is. I mean, it's a long time. We do plod. And that's the nature of government in general. They plod along for various reasons. So that's the concern I have again, is just the timing of all this. It's just sitting on a lot of money with no real use for it, but for the Betterment Fund.
Could we go back and ask Olivia?
Yeah.
At the county, if we could take this out and maybe rearrange it a little bit?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Talk about it again next month. We plot. We do, we do. We do. All right. You move at a glacial pace.
Yep.
So,
It's not just
All right.
Waunakee.
no, yeah, so that's the nature of local government,
Yeah.
all government.
Yep.
All right, so thank you guys. I think that brings us to the conclusion of our business items today.
I move to adjourn.
I'll second.
All right, any discussion on the motion? See none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Sorry for being late.
It is.
We docked your pay.
Yeah. That's fine. You can have my.